Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back for another video. This one is for the breakdown of the trailer for The Ones Who Live that we got yesterday. And so if you have not seen my reaction to that, check it out in the link above. But this one we're going to really break it down. And these are not in any particular order. There's kind of sporadic, and there's a couple shots that I'm going to save for the end that I really want to discuss that I know are hot topics about the trailer, because we kind of get some, more or less we get confirmation about something everyone's been wondering about since it was kind of hinted at within teasers and everything, and no one really had any idea that whether or not it was true. But I think in this we can kind of say that it's definitely true, so I wanted to dive in that kind of in its own little section at the end of the video. But I wanted to jump into the stills that I grabbed from the trailer and kind of discuss them and what we can expect going forward with this series. And it still kind of leaves that question: is this it? Is this going to be a one and done season, or are we going to get an additional season? They're really careful, I think, about their choice of words regarding this show. They say limited series, but limited series can mean a couple different things. I mean, yes, it can mean one season, or it could mean at least two, like they did with World Beyond, which I think was a sufficient amount of episodes and airtime that we needed to tell that story, and I think they need at least that for this. But anyways, going into the stills, this first shot, we get the trailer, it's opening up, we have Rick in the calling facility where they are luring walkers to dwindle down their numbers and everything. And you can tell in that opening shot, he's fucking miserable. He doesn't want to be here, as would anybody in this situation where they're being forced to be in this job, and it's probably an everyday thing. And just on top of that, he's missing his family and his home and just being stuck where he can't escape. I'm going to skip over a couple of the shots because those are the ones I really want to discuss at the end of the video. But going on, we have Michonne with her giant horde of walkers, and she kind of has a defeated or disappointed look on her face, and she kind of draws her sword like, well, shit, I guess I have to do this, and charges off into that horde to do whatever she has to do. I don't know if she's leading them somewhere. Maybe this is part of her plan to go up against the CRM towards the end, or whatever the case may be. But then going on after that, we get our aerial shot of Philadelphia. This looks like the downtown area where all the buildings are dilapidated, they're not cared for, they're overgrown. You can tell that this is not a part of the city that they have brought back to life, that they have walled off to be an actual place that people are living and they're operating their military and whatnot. So kind of moving on from that though, then we have a shot of Rick. He's looking over as a helicopter passes, and you can tell that this is one of their ports or one of their bases, because we can assume that the CRM is not going to be in one focused area. It's going to have multiple areas spread out across an entire state, because we got from the World Beyond that they were located in Ithaca, New York, I believe. That was just one of their facilities. So we can assume that this is probably one of dozens, if not more. Then we get this shot of Rick in an apartment where it looks like he's talking to someone. We're not sure yet. Going on, and then we get an aerial shot of what is clearly a more focused area that the CRM military resides in. And this is probably what looks to be a port off of the river near Philadelphia. And it's walled off and it's very protected and everything, as you have military vehicles everywhere. You have helicopters, you have land vehicles. This is probably one of their larger bases that they have, and maybe one of their main ones. And then we get this shot that we saw in the previous trailer teaser, or whatever you want to call it. But we have a few of the probably more elite military at this fence. This is probably one of many gates leading into a particular area, and they're confronting walkers or someone wandering up to the gate. Then we got this guy. We will see him in another shot, so I'm going to kind of move on. And then we got this shot again where we have our, like I said, more elite part of the military, the more elite faction. And this kind of feeds off into the next scene of that part, where it looks like this is a funeral service for a fallen soldier, and General Beale here leading the charge, or leading the service itself, because we see a coffin in the back with a CRM flag draped over it. This might be one of those occasions where the more elite people get kind of a private service or whatever, and I think this is one of those situations. And then kind of going back, we have this back-facing shot of Rick sitting on the bench next to Beale, facing the ruins of Philadelphia. Probably Beale discussing his plans or ways to make Rick work for him, because that's kind of the tone that I get from this trailer, that Rick is under the employ of Major General Beale specifically. Like he enlisted Rick's help or whatever to carry out special missions maybe, or lead a faction of his military, because he's seen what he's willing to do to get out and how strong he is and everything. This next photo is kind of a same part of that conversation. Then we get this face shot of Major General Beale after he's sitting there talking to Rick, and Rick's saying, what makes you think I'm going to go along with this? And he says something to the nature of, because everything's about to change or something like that. And then we get this aerial shot, and I kind of looked more closely at this than I did the first time around, but we can see that this is probably an outpost of some sort for the CRM. Now, all the vehicles lining the street, those could very well still just be abandoned vehicles from the fall, and they might have left them there as maybe a form of defense to kind of steer people away from this facility, because if you look closely, from what I can tell anyways, it looks like they have camo over the top of the buildings. So this leads me to kind of question, why would they need that if they are the most powerful military force in the world? Who are they trying to hide from? Is there some other military force or some other group that has access to military or just in general aerial vehicles? Is there someone that they're fear of, that they might discover one of their outposts or whatever it is? Because why else would they have this, what appears to be camouflage over the top of these buildings to make them kind of blend into this field? Then we get some more shots of Philadelphia, and we see that they are operating off of windmills. So this is how they're producing their electricity and everything to power different sections of the CRM. And then we get our shot of Jadis spewing her normal crap that we've heard her spew in the world beyond and other parts, where she says CRM is the last light of the world or whatever, and just really trying to sell and get people to believe this, when I think on some level she doesn't buy it herself. And I kind of want to smack her in the face for it. Like, I really hate her for saying this line, because you know that she's completely full of shit, and she is an awful fucking person, I believe. And I want to believe that there is possibly a chance for her to redeem herself, but I don't know, because she really has made it clear that she's really out for herself. Aside from taking Rick in and making sure he survived, she might have just discarded him after he kind of got cleared or whatever medically, and just went on about her life. Then this is what I was talking about earlier. We get this shot of this was probably some sort of commander or leader within the CRM military faction. He seems like he's going to be an important character. Good or bad, we don't know yet. I don't think we've even gotten a name for this guy. So it's hard to tell what side of the fence he's going to play. Then we get our other shot of Jadis holding a gun to somebody, probably someone that's wanting to expose her. And I think this is part of a scene that we do get multiple clips of within this trailer. And I think the person that she's got a gun to is Michonne, and I'll kind of go into that once we come across those other shots. But in this next one, we got Michonne. She's really trying to convince someone that they don't need to do what they're trying to do. I'm not really sure if she's talking to someone of the CR military or talking to someone within her group that she's with, or maybe even Jadis herself. Maybe they kind of come to blows at first and then sit down and have a civilized talk, but that's iffy. I'm not sure if that's the case. Then we get the scene of Rick. He is flipping a table in his apartment, so this is also part of a bigger conversation regarding the thing that I think everyone is talking about after seeing this particular trailer, so we might come back to this shot. Then we get another shot of Rick within probably the inner walls of their Philadelphia settlements, seeing the windmills in the background there. Then we get our shot of Leslie Ann Brandt, whose part, I believe her name is Pearl, and she is a soldier, and she's telling Rick that this is the last thing she has. So I'm hoping that we'll possibly get some sort of background on her. Maybe she had a family at one point that she lost during the fall, or at some point after the apocalypse, or whatever it is they're gonna build up for her. I hope it's something, because I think she's a great actress and she should have a good story. So here's why I'm kind of thinking that at some point Michonne tracks down Jadis's ass and goes after her. This is in this car chase scene that we have a few different clips of within the end of this trailer, where we see Jadis being pursued by someone in what looks like a yellow or green truck, and then we get another shot where they're about to collide. And I think in that little shot with Jadis holding someone at gunpoint, I think that's Michonne. And I think in that scene, they track each other down, because after that collision, we see Michonne jump out of her truck drawing her sword. So I think this is part of the same scene. But here we go. Going into this particular set of shots, the big question within this, because they were so reluctant to show Rick's left hand, in any footage that we were getting. And this is probably one of the big shots that's out there that everybody's talking about, is we can clearly see that Rick's left hand is not present. Either it's within the sleeve of the jacket or it's just gone. And I wanted to kind of focus more into another shot that I picked up from the trailer where we can kind of confirm that his hand is probably gone. And it's within this shot, the same scene where he's at that culling facility, where we see that he's drawn back with his right hand and then resting the end of the blade on what looks like a stub, because we can see in the jacket what looks like a bandage. So this leads us to believe that all the theories and all the speculations about his hand are probably true, that he's not going to have it. And I don't know if it's the result of a punishment that he might have received for trying to escape, or possibly he lost it in the explosion. Maybe this is shortly after he is picked up, he is cleared medically, and he's put to work. This is probably flashbacks possibly to his earlier days in the CRM, in that culling facility, taking care of walkers. And we can pretty much confirm from this shot alone, I think, that his hand is gone, because I did hear some rumors around there that there was leaked shots or something from set where he had different prosthetics. So I think we can kind of close the book on this mystery, that his left hand is probably gone, and they're kind of playing out that part that he had within the comic book, even though it was way, way in the beginning of the apocalypse that he loses his hand. So I think they're going to kind of take that and just kind of run with it, because I think in the earlier days they didn't want to do it because it would cost too much, but this show had like a $13 million budget per episode. So I think they kind of said, fuck it, we're going to roll with it and take his hand. Kind of add a little shock factor to his return to our screens and see that even Rick is not invincible, that he can still be harmed in some way or another because he's gotten out of so many situations unscathed. But that is my breakdown of the trailer. It was kind of a lengthy one, but I think a few things needed to be discussed, and kind of just, like I said, closing the book on a couple different situations, and the fact that we still don't know if this is a one and done season or they're going to give us at least 2 seasons. They haven't really been forthcoming with that information, and I don't know if they will be. Up until the finale airs, I don't think we're going to hear anything whether or not we're going to get a second season, or they're just going to kind of build up this story and then push it forward with the crossover spinoff that we're supposed to get at some point, that I think is going to involve the other 2 spinoffs to kind of close that chapter of the Walking Dead universe. But anyways, if you enjoyed my breakdown, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment. I want to know what you guys have to say. We can continue the conversation down there. And as always, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Help me make that push to 1,000 subscribers this year. So anyways, guys, take care. Bye.